So thank you very much for listening up till now. We have some time. Does anybody have a burning question? Not a rant or a tirade or a psychedelic disjointed experience that they need to share?
We have about 10 minutes, so we can have some good discussion. If you can
come forward, make it easy for us. I see some hands. Okay, there's
short and
if you have a question and you're way in the back, come forward because we'll never get to you, but we'd love to hear from you.
Good afternoon. A while back I saw a film about Mayor Mocus in Bogota, Colombia. And maybe one of you guys is familiar with what he did. The place was a wreck, and in a period of, I think in the 90s, they started with cleaning up the city, creating public transportation, the Transmilenio, and in a period of 36 months, they went from idea to implementation. It's like building the CTA in 36 months. And if it doesn't appear that any one of you know about it, okay. For the rest of you, it's M-O-C-K-U-S. It's in YouTube.
Thank you. Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, it's Antanas Mocus, and who was the former mayor of Bogota. He's also running on the Green Party ticket for president, and he's ahead actually. He's doing really well. He's doing quite well, to the surprise of a lot of folks in Colombia, and I think his work is instructive for a lot of reasons. There's great stuff on the internet about him, and if you don't speak Spanish, there's some stuff in English. If you speak Spanish, it's even more interesting stuff, compelling stuff. And I think it's an instructive model about both how politicians can lead, but also the relationship and the responsibility that citizens and citizenries have for moving ideas and carrying them forward, not just in Bogota, but probably in Colombia. Yeah, I think it's a great thing that people should be aware of.
Well, also, I spent a decent amount of time in Medellin, and I was just there about a week and a half ago doing a project with a group called Project Liquido, which you'd be stunned what's going on in Colombia because they've been recovering from the sort of drug war, and at the same time they're pressing very far ahead. And we had an event at the Oquirama, which is these botanical gardens that were designed by these amazing Colombian green architects called Plan B. Regretfully, I have it on my phone, but the building is made from organic wood, and it's this incredible geometric kind of shape. But the presidential candidate is really incredible, and I'm really shocked and happy that he's been doing so well. Colombia, the U.S. policies of the last 20 years have really ravaged the northern part of the country with FARC on one hand versus these right-wing militias on the other. So a lot of the more progressive people have tried to just do what they do. And that's been incredible. Like you were saying, 36 months, they've shown, I think, that even a war-ravaged country in recovering from Reagan era versus on up, all sorts of crazy stuff, they've been able to really rapidly move, once they have the ideological apparatus to think about the possibility of another world or another country. Most of Latin America is moving to the left. Now, I don't necessarily endorse Hugo Chavez. In fact, I think he's a whole different sort of category. But how do you pronounce his name? Mocus. Okay. I'm American. Sorry. I speak French, but the whole kind of scene that you've been seeing in Latin America. I mean, Lula, I have issues with as well. That's your guy. But there is will, and I think because of Bush's tragedy of the last 8 years, it's liberated Latin America to pursue a more independent course, and they are doing much more progressive stuff on a lot of levels than we are here.
Question in the middle.
Yeah, I was working on a project in the middle of Chicago. I mean, we'll call it the middle of Chicago because it's, we have so many blocks south, so many blocks north of it, so many blocks west and east of it. It's in Logan Square, and basically it's around Armitage and Kedzie. My reason for getting involved in that area is not because there is a lot of potential for economic growth now. What it is a lot of abandoned buildings now, but there used to be a lot of businesses there. So the buildings are still not big enough to block out the sun, so it's still a potential for growth, for gardens and that kind of thing. At the same time, there's a lot of, I have no gentrification habits in Chicago. University of Illinois bought out all of south of Roosevelt on Halstead and all these things, moved a lot of the Puerto Rican and Mexican community out of there. I see the same thing's gonna happen in 10 or 20 years in the neighborhood that I wanna incorporate. The green business hive is what I wanna call it, basically. And there's, at the same time, a lot of gang warfare, like you talked about in Latin America, and there's a whole drug wars and everything going on over there. I want to get my word out to people who aren't already thinking green, people who aren't at this festival, and to incorporate our ideas. What has your experience been in being able to connect to the people who don't already have this green idea in their head, this change? You know, they're living the way they live, they're living on a survival basis kind of thing.
I mean, you're saying like, how do we move beyond preaching to the choir, essentially?
Essentially, yeah. And then also bringing the people who are already green in their neighborhoods
Sure,
to one
sure.
location.
I can talk to that. I mean, in many ways, that's what we tried to do with the film, and hopefully that's what we're accomplishing. We try to package it in a way that we could move beyond, you know, a green or a new age crowd, using animation, using the tools that I had from the, you know, 15 years of advertising, hit music, so to create a language that is truly engaging to both young and older audiences. So that's one of the things that we're doing in that direction. So to really try to reach an wider audience. And in fact, we actually just landed a distribution deal, and it looks like we're going to be able to go to several cities, up to 30 cities around the country with our film. So that's one way. And then we have a lot of free videos in the internet. We have a whole series of videos that me and Daniel developed called postmoderntimes.com. And they're available for free on the internet. So making media available for free for people is one way. You know.